Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. Today on Races of the Worlds, we are going to be talking about the Taelon. Now, for those of you that don't know me yet, I am on Spaced Out Radio on the first Friday of every month from 9 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Okay, and that is on Spaced Out Radio on the internet, spacedoutradio.com. You can find me on Facebook, R. Keith Andrews, or look up Inner Voice Enterprises. You can find me on YouTube, obviously. At the bottom of every one of my videos, you'll find different ways of contacting me. So absolutely, if you have questions that I don't address in one of my videos, please drop me a line at any one of the contact numbers below. Okay, and absolutely, just a quick note, we would really appreciate a thumbs up if you like the video. And, subscribe to our channel so you get the rest of them. There's a lot of different videos coming up. I've been absent for a little bit, but that's another story in itself. So, with that in mind, the Taelon. Now, the Taelon are what many people refer to as the ant folk. As it sounds like, these people are, well, if they're on all six legs, they're about 6 feet. They're about 3 feet tall from the floor. When they stand up on four legs, they're about 4 feet tall. And when they come right up onto their hind legs, they are now 5 feet tall. They have different footings, or different ends, if you will, for each of the legs. The front legs are, how do I put this? They only have 3 fingers anyway. Well, more to the point, 2, and I just can't do that. Okay, they've got 2 fingers and a thumb. When they're standing up, their front hands, that's all they are. They can walk on them, but they've only got the 2. When you take a look at the middle set, they are designed to bear more weight. Okay, so they're a thicker hand. They are sturdier, but that's because a lot of the time that these guys walk around, more often than not, they walk around on 4 legs. Their hind legs are simply cloven. They simply are feet. They don't pick up anything. Okay, so you've got actual manipulatable. So much for English. You've got hands that work quite nicely on the top 2. The middle 2 are a combination hand and foot, so they've got much thicker fingers. Their bottom 2, or back 2 if you will, are strictly feet. Very broad, very capable of bearing the weight. Okay, now, they are primarily vegetarian. However, they are omnivorous. Their preferred food is vegetarian. So if you're worried about being taken or anything like that, that's not most of the time their main focus. They do abduct people, but they do that so they can get to understand the environment. Okay. Now, from their standpoint, they don't care what it is, or who it is for that matter. They will eat anything organic. Okay. The ships they have are an interesting thing, so we'll get back to those in a little bit. Okay, when a Taelon is born, it knows exactly what it's going to be doing. It knows whether it's going to work in the nursery, whether it's going to work as guard duty or as warrior duty. And there's a number of other little jobs, but when they are first born, they already know. So it doesn't take much to get them organized. They only have 1 queen per colony. Okay, and that 1 queen is the only one that lays eggs. Now, when they get to a point where their food supply is starting to dwindle, they will immediately start prepping another queen to, if you will, go out and find another location. And this is where they head for other planets. Okay, I mean, they start off by filling their own homeworld, which, by the way, is already full. Okay, but when we're talking about, now it is a matriarch, meaning the Queen Mother is the one that makes all the decisions. And it's a pretty simple solution where it comes to their legal system. If you disobey the Queen's order, if you disobey it, you're terminated. There is no punishment that is, oh, let's lock you up for 20 years. Okay, which is probably a good thing since they average only about 50 years in Terran world. In Terran time. As in 50 Earth years. Okay, they are, how do I put this? Because of the way that their society is, they produce a staggering number of eggs, but many of those eggs are literally consumed. So it's not just a question of let's lay eggs to have a whole bunch of kids. They literally lay eggs to eat. Okay, that's one of their mainstays, if you will. Now, the matron mother is a dictator. Fortunately for the hive, she does tend to be a benevolent dictator. This is why I warn people that I do live recordings. Meaning, when I get done, I'm not going to go back and edit. I am just simply going to put it out, and the mistakes you hear, that's just me. This is why I don't read my own books, as in record them. Anyway, when you take a look at their entire society, it is based around a colony. Okay, with the Queen Mother running it. Now, the answer as far as do they believe in gods, they have a complete hierarchy of gods, but they are skill-based. In other words, you've got your god of weapons, you've got your god of medicine, you've got your god of housing, okay, or your god of construction. But they are all set up in various different levels. So you've got the primary god, okay, who is quite literally, that would be the Great Mother. Okay. So, and then you've got everything trickles down. And they build their entire society the same way. Now, when you're looking at, the other issue here, I mentioned the warriors. The warrior god, the warrior caste are web sprayers. Okay, they spit web. They've got special glands in their throat that they spit it out. Okay, much like a spider does, although different exit point. Okay. They also spit a saliva that will dissolve said web without any problem, without actually damaging the skin. Now, of course, we are talking about an animal that has a hard carapace. This makes them, according to Earth's small arms, pretty much bulletproof. Okay. You also have, there are some of these people are born with wings. They are the air defense system, and they can be really nasty. Because if these guys go after, for instance, if they're going out and actually hunting birds, they will spray the birds with webbing to bring them down. Okay. Now, contrary to popular belief, these guys do not knock out unlike the arachnids, the Taelon do not knock out their prey. They simply bind them to the point that they can't move. Does it sometimes create a problem? Certainly. Not everybody likes being cocooned. Now, the ships are the fascinating thing. Because the ships, you've got your main body here, and they've got 6 legs that come down below. However, and I cannot do this with my hand, okay, if you picture it this way, they've got legs, so when they come down, they land on 6 legs. Okay, but that's if they're landing on dry land. When they are coming into atmosphere, they're coming down this way, they will fold their legs back over top of themselves. They'll come back out around over top of the rest of the ship. Okay, because this part here, which is now the bottom, is designed to take the re-entry and the impact. They turn into that form to enter the atmosphere or to enter water. Either way, they are designed to take it out. Now, the other thing you have to understand is when they are standing up, when they are standing this way, their belly, the belly of their ship, is what has the weapon. Okay, and the weapon itself, okay, the funny thing with these guys is that their ships can be mistaken at a distance for a helicopter. But with a helicopter, when it's flying, they tilt nose down and fly forward. With the Taelon ship, it brings its legs up just a little, tilts this way, and moves forward, leaving the gun itself in the front end, ready to fire. Now, the thing with that gun is it is also a boarding spike. So when they're going into combat, they will hammer into the side of a ship, driving that spike through the hull, and then the Taelon will embark, or they will disembark from theirs, embark on the others, but using that access point through the gun barrel, they will enter and take over a ship. Now remember, these guys are web spitters, which does tend to mean they can immobilize people in a hurry. It's a good thing they're not aggressive to the point of actually wanting to conquer anywhere. Okay, now, yes, I did make notes for myself because that's usually the best move. Okay. Oh yes, the other nice little part. When you're looking at the coloring of it, the underside of it is the underside of their ship is kind of a reddish yellow. The top side is more of a bluish green. Of course, the advantage there is if you're looking at reddish, yellowish, brown sort of thing, it's kind of an odd color. But if you're flying upside down over top of a territorial landscape, it blends in quite nicely. Okay, because remember, if it's flying along, quite often they'll fly upside down. So you've got your red coloring here and your blue coloring underneath. Net result is flying over land, they're hard to spot, they're somewhat camouflaged. If they're flying over water and they turn the other way up, okay, now you're looking at the top and they tend to vanish into the water. Okay, that said, all in all, it's a decent setup. These are a race that is well known in the consortium. They can be a little temperamental, and since they don't pay much attention to the way other people feel, their methods can be a little questionable. Like, these guys are known to be cruel in a lot of ways. Okay, and with that in mind, they're one of these races that, when people go, I'd like to experience an abduction, they don't get what they're after. Picture voluntarily walking into the Spanish Inquisition. Not necessarily an enjoyable thing. So we are looking at a fair amount of, what's the word I'm looking for? Fair amount of communication line. Now here's the thing. Where it comes to communication, they talk in clicks and chirps. Okay, usually made by the mandible or by their little beak. Okay, they also add to that an auditory sound by rubbing their arms together. And by rubbing their arms together, this adds a whole new dimension. Now, obviously, humans could manage to emulate the clicking and the chirping. Getting their arms to rub properly, because it's not just where they rub, how fast they rub, what angle they rub. Try playing a violin without the violin, just using your arms. That's how they operate. And of course, with the warrior ones, they also have the added language with their wings. So we are dealing with an interesting race all the way around. Not necessarily a congenial one, but definitely interesting. At least in my opinion. Okay, so this is what we're leaving, where we'll leave it with the Taelon. Okay, I do apologize for the length of time. I had way too many things I had to deal with, but we will get another video out as soon as we can here on another race. If you have questions, drop me a line below at any one of the contact numbers. I'll be happy to get back to you. If there's a race or an event that you've had, again, I am on Spaced Out Radio on the first Friday of every month on spacedoutradio.com. But look at my contact points below and drop me a line. And we would love to, connect with you. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.